Football Prodigy's Revenge, Banned Teen to World Cup Hero. Please like, share, and subscribe. Episode 1. Get the Kaka template and head to Leicester City. July 2015, parallel time and space. On a plane flying from Summer Country to John Cow Country. Look at the English Channel that crosses. Chu Feng's face revealed joy and longing. Long bangs crossed his eyes, and his young and handsome face constantly attracted the attention of the ladies around him. A look of doubt appeared on his flawless face. Chu Feng closed his eyes, as if he was browsing something, and kept turning. Ding. Super Life System launched. Department. System? Chu Feng was shocked. Fortunately, the voice was faint and no one could hear it. Host class detected, football player. Superstar branch is automatically selected. Newbie rewards, Kaka template. Get the Kaka template. Chu Feng was excited with questions. Canter templates? What do you mean? Kaka, Chu Feng knew, before crossing over, Kaka had retired. The silver saddle shines on the white horse, fluttering like a shooting star. 10 steps to kill a person, 1,000 miles do not stay. It was the best description of him. An attacking midfielder whose talent has not been fully realized due to injuries is also one of the best players in the world. There is no shortage of individual honors and team honor cards. World Cup, Champions League, Ballon d'Or, World Footballer of the Year. Winner of the last Golden Globe Awards, before the first doubles. Wu Kai inspected the Kaka template. Speed, 90. Shots on goal, 90. Passes, 88. Dribbling, 93. Defense, 31. Body, 68. Whether to select fusion. Gorgeous values, extremely fast sprint acceleration, superb shooting, unstoppable when waiting for a breakthrough, and the iconic big stride ball cannot make the opponent steal. Fusion? Wu Kai had doubts. I can afford to be a stranger like a jade, a gentleman is unparalleled in the world, and the Kaka template is indeed a match for me. Fusion will affect the technical side, and the body side will enhance your attributes according to your physical condition. After Chu Feng understood, he did not hesitate to choose fusion. With the beginning of convergence, Chu Feng's value was also increasing. Chu Feng also had a very strange feeling. I seem to have become stronger and stronger, and my muscle lines have become more and more distinct. Although I am not playing football, I feel that my football thinking is slowly changing, and some ideas are slowly emerging. Suddenly I felt that the ball was at my feet, and I had been running into it for many years. Obviously there is no ball, but I feel that I have a feeling of unity of human balls. Unless it is found that the fusion is complete, his properties are slightly different from the templates. The speed value becomes 92 and the body becomes 75. Speed ability sprint speed, acceleration, and other attribute effects. The body is also affected by attributes such as strength, physical strength, and enthusiasm. The card template of this fusion is a card that is not affected by injuries and is cashed in after the talent is realized. So I'm not better than Pinnacle Kaka. Chu Feng thought in surprise. No, some spiritual attributes cannot be integrated, it is up to me. He rejected his own ideas. In Chu Feng's view, spiritual attributes are also an important attribute, including tactical consciousness, and offensive consciousness is impossible to change by the fusion of technical physical attributes. But now I can definitely play as a main midfielder in any team in the 5 major leagues. Even the giants are no problem. Any player will feel even more terrifying when facing the peak Kaka when facing himself. The only problem is how to make them accept themselves faster and find themselves in this 1,000-mile horse. This trial must make them feel the strength from me. The academy is not suitable for me. I want to enter the Premier League as soon as possible. Chu Feng continued to observe the system, thinking that the system should not be a template fusion, it will not be a one-time put. Find a plus sign in the personal value bar to find a branch behind your attribute. Can these properties be directly promoted? After clicking the plus sign, it shows that there are no ability points to increase. Chu Feng carefully checked the description of the ability points, and after understanding it, he found that one of the ways to obtain the ability points was to train continuously. Every day when the training base is reached, you will get a little attribute. This property cannot directly increase the value of the 6 basic properties. Speed 92, sprint speed 93, acceleration 90. Shot 90. Finishing ability 87, long range shot 92, shot strength 87, offensive walk 91, penalty 96, volley 88. Pass 88, short pass 91, field of view 93, across 83, long pass 79, arc ball 91, free kick 76. Dribbling 93, disc 95, possession 97, agility 80, balance 74, reaction 89. Defense 31, staring at 14, interceptions 43. Body 75, strength 85, stamina 66, positivity 57, bounce 66. The 6 basic attributes contain too many branches, and the ability point is to enhance these branches. When the value of a branch reaches 90, the golden ability point is enhanced. Gold ability points require 10 normal points to craft. After looking at his personal attributes, Wu Kai found that there was also a lottery machine. After clicking on the draw, it is found that money is needed to draw. 10 million euros is drawn once, which includes star stunts, player skills, normal ability points, gold ability points, etc. Money can be used to complete missions, or to complete league achievements to receive rewards, as well as salary from playing football yourself can also be displayed as a lottery amount. The amount of the quest and achievement rewards will be converted into real money and credited to your account after the lottery. The plane landed at Birmingham Airport. Chu Feng walked out of the transfer gate. Hey! Chu Feng, welcome to John Cow Country. Mick Mullen held out his right hand to Chu Feng in a straight suit. Chu Feng reached out and shook hands with him vigorously. You're such a muscular boy. Mullen wrapped up almost, as if he wanted to understand the character of this summer teenager. After all, it is rare to see people from the Summer Kingdom on the court of John Bull. Chu Feng smiled and nodded, without responding to Marlon's words. Mullen smiled too, turned and guided him out of the airport, toward a private car. Chu Feng was stunned when he saw it, guessing that maybe the team didn't pay much attention to himself. It should be that you have watched your own game video, to have a certain assessment of your own strength. In their eyes, they were also an ordinary summer country teenager with a certain talent. The so-called football geniuses that Xiaogua had advocated before had gone, and in the end, they could not cash in on their talents with the passage of time, and slowly went down to mediocrity, and they were willing to go on to mediocre. After figuring out the reason, Chu Feng also chose to accept. After fusing the Kaka template, Chu Feng was no longer the teenager who needed to cash in on his talent, and a new Win Sun had appeared. He himself has the strength of a football superstar, and now he is just going to get the honor of a football superstar. Episode 2. The FA is banned. Trials blocked? On the way to the youth base in Leicester City, Chu Feng looked at the news on his mobile phone playfully. The Chinese League A team broke out a fake game Real Hammer, and the 17-year-old genius created by the fake game, Chu Feng? Xia National Football Association General Manager Program Ape, never tolerate fake players, we must deal with it seriously. 17-year-old genius, why fake game, when will the genius scam be broken? Ban. 17-year-old talented teenager was banned by the Football Association. The comments in the comments section are all there. The Football Association has finally done a personnel work, and these poisonous insects of the fake game should be directly killed. I said how domestic football is a genius every day, and every day is hung, and this is how it came. Just suspended for 2 years? This kind of person is not permanently banned for the new year? The FA wouldn't be collecting money, would it? The few people who helped him speak were also drowned out by the shouts and beatings of everyone. Looking at the sewage that was finally spilled on his body, Chu Feng couldn't help but sigh at the shamelessness of these people. Thinking back to the experience before coming to John Cow Country, the absurdity of domestic football is still refreshing the lower limit one by one. Chu Feng crossed over to become a football player, and he wanted to repay the cultivation of the coaching team and win glory for the country. Unexpectedly, in the end, the ideal ambition was defeated by reality. Because the contract with his own team is still 1 year away, he is ready to transfer, and he wants to join a Chinese Super League team, and then he can give this small team that cultivates himself a good economic income. But an upstart who has just entered the Chinese Super League wants him to join his team directly, admit how good his conditions are, but is not willing to pay the transfer fee, and wants him to sign directly. The contract period of less than a year said that he could balance it and sign it for free. Chu Feng realized that this was a miserly and unruly club owner, and he probably did not want to develop the team and directly refused. I thought that things would come to an end after the refusal, but I didn't expect that some people in the team who had played with the team not long ago blew themselves up and said that they had received money from Chu Feng's team and wanted them to play and release water. I thought that this nonsense was not afraid of the shadow oblique, but then the Football Association actually announced that the team was relegated to the second division next season. Then the upstart came to the door again and took a person named Yang Feng, who claimed to be an executive of the Football Association, and continued to persuade Chu Feng. Their remarks made Chu Feng feel disgusted, and he also realized that the fake game must be inseparable from this upstart, and the executives of the Football Association also helped a lot. The direct tone of the unkind tone issued an eviction order. Because of this, Chu Feng also thoroughly understands the dirty in domestic football and is more and more eager to go abroad to stay in the ocean. Chu Feng originally thought that leaving the domestic football arena, the matter should be over, but he did not expect to finally want to pull himself into the water. I don't know if it will affect this trial. I remembered the coach helping him find a friend who was scouting in Europe, and trying to find a way to recommend himself to Leicester City Academy. Chu Feng, although Leicester City is only a small team, you can better understand the advanced football concepts in Europe by joining their youth training, which will be good for your future growth. At first, the coach may have been afraid that Chu Feng would look down on such an obscure small team as Leicester City. After all, in the eyes of the coach, Chu Feng is a very talented player, but he can only go to Rust City, a team that does not know when to return to the League One, and start over from the youth training. But Chu Feng, as a crosser, knows that next year, 2016, the miracle year of football, Leicester City, a grassroots team with a total value of only more than 60 million, will sweep the Premier League and win the Premier League Championship. Leicester City will also attract the attention of football enthusiasts around the world. Therefore, Chu Feng did not hesitate to embark on the plane to Zhanyogua, if at first he just wanted to rub the east wind of the Leicester City miracle, and now Chu Feng, who had fused the Kaka template, had decided that this east wind would dance with him. The car was parked firmly in front of Leicester City's academy. Mullen got out of the car and led Chu Feng into the Rust City youth training base. Leicester City, which experienced a thrilling relegation journey last season. After 29 rounds of league battles, Rust City was at the bottom of the table, but fortunately the last 9 rounds of matches were in hot shape, with 7 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss, and finally relegation was successful. In the new season, with the arrival of the new coach Ranieri, the team's tactics and lineup will also usher in changes. But the small transfer funds and the weak squad thickness made Ranieri very distressed. As a pot maker, I was in a hurry. At the press conference at the beginning of his tenure, Ranieri said that the task of this season is to relegate. The small transfer funds allowed him to set his sights on his own youth camp, hoping to find a few good seedlings to train in the competition and strengthen the team. A piece of news from Xiagua appeared on the hot search of the sports version. Fake boy lands in the Premier League. Rust City invited the summer juniors to try out. When Chu Feng entered the training camp, he happened to be seen by Li Ming, an international student who went to Leicester County to play. Originally, Li Ming did not know Chu Feng, if he were not a football fan who paid attention to football news at home and abroad. He would not have known the player who was banned by the Summer National Football Association. Li Ming immediately took a video of Chu Feng entering the youth training camp and put it on the internet. Then the video went on fire. Then the whole fandom got into a heated up. Lying grass, don't you mean fake races? How did you run the Premier League trial? And this strength also needs to buy off the opponent's fake game? I also said that the FA has done a good thing, and it turns out that it has wronged good people and written the FA. I must have used the money to buy a trial place, go abroad for a turn, and want to wash off the hat of the fake game. The FA came out to explain it, or I would have rushed. I checked that Leicester is a Premier League relegation team, just a League One level, and began to say that it is logged into the Premier League, and now the self-media really does not want to face. The original one-sided public opinion in China has also begun to become cloudy. Inside the FA. What's going on here? The procedural apes loudly reprimanded the subordinates. Yang Feng, who was standing on the side, wiped the sweat on his forehead. Boss, I haven't received any news, and I don't know. Is it that you said that the matter has come to an end, that is, a sub-league fake time? How can there be such a big storm? The procedural ape expressed its dissatisfaction. Now that he's in the Premier League, how do we explain to people that a guy who wins in a fake game in the Chinese First Division can play in the Premier League? The procedural ape's eyes became more and more unkind. Mr. Chen, you can rest assured, Chu Feng is just a little speed, dribbling okay Chinese League A player. In the Chinese Super League he can still jump twice. The Premier League is definitely not played. Yang Feng patted his chest. Really? So why did you invite him to try it out? General Manager Chen, I dare to conclude that at most it is an invitation to the academy for trial training, and then as soon as domestic public opinion is hyped, Chu Feng can take off the hat of the fake game, and Chu Feng is putting our football association's army. Yang Feng was very confident. In this way, this young man is very rampant, not only disobeying the superior leaders, but also thinking of revenge. Our national football team cannot have such a black sheep. Procedural apes have a deep meaning. By the way, give us a notice of punishment to Chu Feng. In the name of the Football Association, send a copy of the pass to the team called Huching. We can't let international friends be deceived. We want to maintain the image of our country, right? Yes, Mr. Chen. Yang Feng's low waist finally straightened. Chu Feng, not only can you completely mix these things in China, but you don't have to think about the trial training abroad. Yang Feng's expression was sinister. Episode 3. The scorn of the youth team. Rush a dragon to break the door. Leicester City Academy. Ranieri is exchanging player information with the coach of the youth team. An assistant coach came up and whispered a few words in the ear of the youth coach. "What's up, Bert?" Ranieri looked at the youth coach with interest. Received the news. The Xi'an National Football Association contacted us, saying that today there is a trial of the summer teenagers because of their suspension because of the fake game. The coach of the youth team had a puzzled expression. Xi'an National Football Association, contact you? Yeah, I don't think it's a direct cancellation of the trial. Anyway, Xiaogui can't have any football talent. Bert's performance didn't matter. Don't you think it's funny? Let him give it a try, fight with U21, and then it will be better to reject him. Ranieri made his own suggestions. Okay, let's see. Bert said that it was alright, and it was not taken to heart for a player from a summer country. Leicester City Academy Stadium. Chu Feng had been watching the other players do basic training for a while, and he felt that something should have happened, so he would be left out in the cold. The players of the youth team glanced at him from time to time. Such a feeling of being viewed as an animal made Chu Feng feel unhappy, and his eyes were cold. By U21, it's time for most academies to leave, and there are no so-called geniuses among them. True geniuses have begun to shine before they reach adulthood. But the European concept of football, the basic skills of the individual, has matured. Some of the academy players have been able to play on the bench in the 5 major leagues, and the strength is certainly unquestionable. In their opinion, whether Chu Feng succeeded in the trial or not, he would not have much intersection with them. Just curious about the sudden appearance of yellow faces. Chu Feng, yes, go and change your clothes, and wait for you and the members of the youth team to do a confrontation game. Youth coach Bert said and turned to walk toward the youth players. After changing his clothes, Chu Feng also walked onto the court. With the whistle sounding. Introduce, his name is Chu Feng, come to the Summer National League A, come today to try out, right, you are a midfielder on the data. Chu Feng nodded. Ba Ina, you come down, Chu Feng on. Players from both sides looked at Wu Kai. Xiaoguaran? China League 1? The people in the Chinese Super League can't keep up with our rhythm when they come, and the Chinese League 1 is not a drag. I'm so scared, when the time comes I knock him into tears, haha. Ba Ina ran out of the stadium, took off the A-team vest to Chu Feng, clapped his hands to welcome Chu Feng on the field. As Chu Feng stepped into the court with his left foot. Ding. Trigger task. Mission objective, win the game and gain the approval of Ranieri. Mission reward, ability point 10. Ranieri's approval? I can understand winning the game, this game is the test for me, winning of course can pass the trial. But how do you win the approval of Ranieri? Could it be that Ranieri is also watching the ball on the spot? Good. Even if it's not for the mission reward, in order to get Ranieri's approval, I have to show 100% strength. The academy is not my place, I must get into the Premier League as soon as possible, this time is my chance. This time I'm going to soar. The mighty wind blew Chu Feng's long bangs. Chu Feng took the headband, fixed the bangs, and rushed to his seat. At this time, the A-team was 0-1 behind, replaced by a young man who had never been run in and was still a summer country sub-league, and the morale of the team was low. The score is already behind, why does the coach have to come with a new person? Why don't you just sentence us to lose, and what else to kick? The team either spoke in frustration or shook their heads and sighed. And Team B morale is strong. Summer country boy, when you see me, hurry up and give me the ball, I'm afraid I'll shovel you and cry, haha. Team B back player, Grant, looked at Chu Feng with contempt. In his opinion, a teenager who plays in the Xiaogui Secondary League wants to dribble without dribbling, to have no body, and he is completely bullying children. With a whistle. The game begins. Team B tee off the sideline. The ball rolled wildly at the feet of the B players, towards the A team goal. The players who can play in Leicester City U21 are quite solid in basic skills, and the dribbling level is very high. The B team players, ready to grab Chu Feng this point, launched an attack. In their view, Chu Feng was completely a gap in the A2 defense line. The ball passed to the feet of the B striker. Accelerating the ball towards the goal of Team A, Chu Feng did not react and was directly shaken over. The A team players completely lost their expectations and were passed so easily. Sure enough, the players of the Summer Kingdom just couldn't do it. Ranieri in the stands also shook his head and sat down, already losing interest in the game. Chu Feng finally reacted. He had just fused the Kaka template, and he had not yet adapted to his current self. And Chu Feng is really not suitable for being a defensive midfielder. But make up for your own mistakes. Chu Feng turned and ran towards his goal. The B team forward had already been caught up by Chu Feng before he was brought to the outside of the penalty area. Chu Feng stuck his position. The B striker didn't expect a man to appear on the right side of the gap that had just started. Turning in panic, he was cut off by the B defender and the ball rolled behind him. Chu Feng directly turned around and caught up with the football. Big stride plus stomp. Obviously, he felt that the ball was far away, but Chu Feng could keep up as fast as possible. It felt as if the ball had never left, had always been at his feet. Chu Feng's speed with the ball increased wildly. Behind him, 3 B players chased wildly. But whether it's the A team players who participate in the counterattack or the B team players who return to the defense, as long as Chu Feng crossed, the distance was getting farther and farther away from them. Chu Feng continued to speed up the dribble, throwing off the midfielders who had come to make up for it. You can't get past me. The B team defender, who was shouting at the beginning to shovel and cry, stared at Chu Feng viciously. Immediately, he shoveled at Chu Feng from the front. The right winger also reached for the ball. Chu Feng clamped the ball between his feet and jumped lightly. Regardless of the 2 men on the outside of the penalty area who are handsome behind them, rushed into the penalty area with a powerful right-footed shot. Goal. The ball is in. It's so easy. Chu Feng also couldn't believe it. With Kaka's template of himself, it was as easy to play against the youth team of Leicester City as it was to play amateur teams in the middle division. No. It is easier, and you can directly pound the yellow dragon by yourself. All the players on the field became his background board. The A team players who had returned to God rushed to Chu Feng, hugged him, patted him on the back, and celebrated the goal. At this moment, all the contempt was gone, and the teammates had already realized Chu Feng's strength. The teammates are left with pure joy after the team scored. Episode 4. Ranieri's joy. Chu Feng must enter the first team. Leicester City Youth Team Stadium. Bert, the coach of the fieldside youth team, looked at Chu Feng in shock. How is this possible, this dribbling speed, body flexibility? The technical instructor next to him was also surprised. I've seen his previous game video, and he didn't have such a terrible dribbling speed. Is it because the level of the middle division is too low? He didn't use his full strength. Be sure to sign him, he will make our youth team a secret weapon. No. Even in the Premier League, he will be. The youth team stage is too small for him, we will certainly not be able to keep him. Bert said, his eyes already looking at Ranieri in the stands. Stadium stands. Ranieri, when Chu Feng turned to carry the ball, had already stood up. Retracting his shocked gaze, he said to the assistant teacher next to him, do you know who I thought of when I looked at Chu Feng? Kaka? Yes, it's Kaka. I haven't driven so smoothly in a long time, and the control of the ball and the rhythm of the ball in the high-speed dribble are so exquisite. Ranieri recalls the original Son of the Wind. Yeah, such a big stride and just a distance that no one else can steal is reminiscent of Kaka. But a counterattack still can't fully see his strength, it can only show that his speed and dribbling skills are really good. The technical coach analyzes. Yeah, but with that speed and dribbling skills, the youth team isn't where he should be. Ranieri has decided to bring Chu Feng to the first team, even if only speed and dribbling, it is enough to make Chu Feng a substitute soldier. The game continued on the pitch. Chu Feng received a pass from his teammate. Started again from midfield, terrifying dribbling speed, made the B players despair. Facing a block from 2 midfielders. Shovel. Pull. All were Chu Feng's simple secondary acceleration please. Chu Feng didn't seem to need to do anything more, as long as he kept accelerating with the ball to the opposite side. facing the bag of 3 defenders in the B team's backline. Chu Feng stopped at high speed with the ball. Adjust the stop ball. Aiming at the goal with a powerful right-footed shot. A long-range shot from outside the penalty area. The ball crossed an arc and crossed the heads of 3 defenders. Hang straight into the dead corner of the goal. The goalkeeper was still thinking about how Chu Feng would block if he entered the penalty area, and did not consider the foot-long range shot at all. Off the pitch and in the stands, both groups applauded and shouted good balls. The score was reversed by 2-1. Team A players cheered and celebrated the counterscore. Chu Feng stood aside unfazed. If the first ball is because of its sudden strength, feel joy. The second goal he already knew, the gap between the youth team and himself, this time the other side did not despise, but quite a lot of attention to themselves. Chu Feng still easily broke the goal, the gap was too big, so that he could not feel the joy of scoring goals. Thinking about Ranieri on the sidelines, Chu Feng knew that although the Leicester City youth team had good skills, he was only a passerby here. The Premier League is its own arena. Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, etc., these Premier League teams are their teammates. And Ranieri in the stands realized that Chu Feng not only had a terrifying dribbling speed, but also had a fairly high shooting skill. He decided to sign Chu Feng after this game. Over time, the field became strange. The players of the youth team already knew that they and Chu Feng did not seem to be people of the same world anymore. They met real geniuses. But the lads of Team B will not easily surrender their weapons. Then Chu Feng would be watched by multiple players of Team B even if he did not have the ball. The tactic of the B team was not to let Chu Feng take the ball. Even if he took the ball, he did not let his terrifying speed rush up. They knew that with their level now, they couldn't stop Chu Feng like that. But the game is still moving in the direction of tragedy. When the B team players focused on Chu Feng. But Chu Feng's vision was focused on the entire stadium. Stop your teammates' pass with your right foot. Face the players who are surrounded by the B team's front court. Chu Feng adjusted his left foot. The body leaned slightly to the left. Shoot the ball with your right foot directly out of the instep. The ball jumped high and flew past the front court players surrounded by Team B. Flew past Grant, who was in front of the station. The ball spins at high speed. There was a quick fall, landing directly in front of the player in front of Team A. Face the huge gap on the right side of Team B, the football in front of you. Although he couldn't believe it, he still rushed up. Carry the ball and rushed towards the opponent's penalty area. Huge gap that put him straight up to the goalkeeper. It's too late for the players to make up for it. Adjust the soccer ball, raise your foot and shoot furiously. The ball rushed into the net, and the huge momentum of the football seemed to rush out of the net. Goal 3-1. It was so easy. It was too easy to score. Chu Feng's passing of this ball was too comfortable. The feeling is passed directly to the feet, and there is no need to stop the ball to adjust. Face the crazy celebrations of the A team players. The players of Team B are completely desperate. I'm getting fond of this summer country guy, great dribbling technique, shooting skills. The stadium also has a wide field of view and good passing ability. Ranieri's words were already full of surprises. This time, the academy was too worthwhile. Yes, I can't believe it's a player from the Summer Kingdom, I wonder if I'm dreaming. The technical coach chimed in. It was a cold joke that someone actually told me that Chu Feng was fake racing in order to win. Ranieri shook his head. It's an offense, but it's a really violent thing, such a player is a superstar everywhere. We want to sign him as soon as possible. Technical coaches are eager. The game is over, let's talk to him. Ranieri continued to look at the pitch. At this time on the pitch, the B players also gave up basically resistance. Directly swing the bus. The players are basically not half-court. Even so, the final score was also fixed at 6-1. Poor B team player. Destined to become a background board for Chu Feng to show himself. Become Chu Feng's ladder into the Premier League. Chu Feng scored a hat-trick. Assists hat-trick. Make 6 goals alone. Show the strength of her offensive end to the end. The players of the A team all surrounded Chu Feng to express their admiration. Chu Feng, you're running really fast. Chu Feng, your foot shot is really handsome. Chu Feng, your pass is too good, and after you cooperate with me, we will directly win the Youth Champions League. Chu Feng, are all the players in your middle division so powerful? The B team player stood to the side and looked at Chu Feng, although he did not say anything, but his eyes revealed admiration. Okay, well, what are you doing around Chu Feng? Don't be ashamed. Bert drove the players of the youth team. Chu Feng, you are really a genius, come with me, someone wants to see you. Bert took Chu Feng to the stands. Episode 5. Join Leicester City, Chu Feng's request. Rust City Pro Training Camp. Chu Feng followed youth coach Bert to the stands. The silver-haired Rainieri was looking at Chu Feng and smiling. Bert said without anger, people have brought you, a good guy, cheap you. Thank you for your contribution to the city of Leicester. Haha. Rainieri responded to Leicester City youth coach. Hello Chu Feng. Rainieri smiled and greeted the genius in front of him. Hello, Coach Rainieri. Chu Feng bowed, whether he was his future coach or not, because of his age, his contribution to football, he did not bow too much. Ha, you're such a polite teenager, do you know me? Chu Feng looked at the old man in front of him. How could Rainieri not know him? A famous pot repairer, the firefighting coach of the relegation team, always took up his post in a hurry and was humiliated to terminate the contract. One has never achieved anything good, has never won a championship title. And such a humble coach, but with a group of Leicester City's ragtag, won the Premier League championship that was firmly controlled by the Premier League Big Six. Granted, fairy tales and miracles are used to create births. Chu Feng recalled his memories of Rainieri before the crossing. I followed this news before I came to Leicester City. Chu Feng gave his own explanation. Then I don't need to introduce myself, Chu Feng, I formally invite you to join the Leicester City first team, are you willing? Rainieri looked at Chu Feng, although Chu Feng had come to participate in the trial training in Leicester City, but he was still afraid, and Chu Feng gave a negative answer. Leicester City is too small to hold a superstar. And Chu Feng is destined to become a superstar, handsome face, excellent foot technology, and the terrifying speed of galloping on the court. It was as if he already had everything a superstar had. But now Leicester City needs Chu Feng too much, there is not enough transfer funds, arduous relegation tasks, and this old man is tormented all the time. Now he saw hope, a football superstar standing in front of him, the only thing missing was fame, but gold would always shine. And he was the first to discover this piece of gold. With Chu Feng, he even started the Phantom League to reach 7th and 8th place, allowing Leicester City to qualify for European competition. Chu Feng looked at the old man expectantly. Although he had already decided to join Leicester City, Chu Feng still did not agree. Chu Feng knew that if some things were not fought for, there would be no one. Although you are competent in your own technology, if you do not fight for some rights and interests, and finally delay the time, this delay may be a year. What can I get if I join Leicester City? Chu Feng's face was calm. Rainieri did not expect that Chu Feng did not directly give an answer, but returned the question to him. After some thought, Rainieri said, after you enter the first team, after running in, I can give you the status of the main player and guarantee your playing time if your body allows. Young players value the most is playing time, and starting status, as long as they can play there is a chance to perform. No matter how many times you make mistakes, as long as you seize a chance, you have the potential to succeed, and there is no shortage of examples of one-goal success on the football field. Chu Feng was unmoved. I can also give you core identity, and if you play well enough after the experience on the field, I can develop tactics with you as the core. Rainieri continued. In addition, because you are a free man signing, I will go back and help you fight for a better salary and strive to reach the top of the team. Chu Feng listened to Rainieri's conditions, and he knew that this was all that Rainieri could give. Playing time, core identity, a newcomer who has never played in the 5 major leagues directly to the top salary of the team, it can be seen how much pressure Rainieri has for relegation. Yes, I agree to join Rust City, but I have 2 more requests, and I hope you will agree. Chu Feng still had some ideas to complete. You say, I try to be satisfied. Chu Feng then said, first of all, I want enough ball rights. I think you can also see my performance on the offensive end, not only an organizer, I am not willing to just be a role of delivering cannonballs. Chu Feng knew that if he imagined the impact of the Golden Globes, it would be difficult for him to challenge the absolute double Jiao as the core of an organization in midfield. And I also come to a weak football country, so it is particularly important to score enough goals. Yes, I can promise you that as long as you are sure of your shots, you can attack yourself. Rainieri knows that with Chu Feng's dribbling speed, just being a midfield organization core is indeed a waste, and the average striker can't keep up with his speed, and if he lets his teammates run into place, he may have wasted a chance to break the goal. Also, I hope that our team can organize a press conference for my signing ceremony as soon as possible, and invite as many reporters as possible from football news newspapers. Chu Feng hopes that through this press conference, he will unveil the internal turmoil of the national football team. If he hadn't spilled the dirty water of the fake game on himself, Chu Feng wouldn't have been able to fight back. This time, we must use the signing of Leicester City to let the truth of the fake game emerge and let people see how dark the FA has gone. Chu Feng's conditions, Ranieri basically agreed. Okay, the press conference is set for tomorrow. We will discuss the specific terms of your player contract, and then we will sign a letter of intent when the press conference comes. The silver-haired old man shook hands with Chu Feng again and left in a rebirth. Chu Feng only now saw his own system rewards. Win the youth team competition, rating, 10 points. Contest prize, €50,000. Complete the sports mission, win the game and gain the approval of Ranieri. Quest reward, 10 ability points. Chu Feng saw the reward content. Confused. Contest rewards? After the query, it turned out that he would get money from the system for scoring every competition. And because of the intensity and popularity of the game, the amount caps obtained are also different. A score of 10 will give you the most money at the moment. The amount of match wins is doubled. After all, the game is still a winner-only theory. And the ability points obtained, Chu Feng did not know how to use them. The youth team's game is still too simple to find out its own weaknesses, and then add some reinforcements when needed later. Chu Feng took out his mobile phone, looking for something, and then put the mobile phone in his ear and listened for a while. This is a recording of the conversation between the Chinese Super League upstart and the Football Association executives when they find themselves for the second time. Originally, just in case, I didn't expect that the sewage from the fake game really spilled on me. You've asked for it. This time, Chu Feng wants fans to see what the Football Association has become now. Episode 6. FA Center. Yang Feng learned through Chu Feng's former club members that Chu Feng only went to participate in the youth training trial. Sure enough, it's just the youth training. Chu Feng, this is what you asked for. Yang Feng triumphantly called the upstart of the Chinese Super League. Inside a 5-star hotel, the upstart boss was planning to have some fun. The bell rings, and you can see the caller ID. The original arrogant expression also became flattering. Hey, leader, is there anything wrong with me? Yang Feng coughed lightly and said, Chu Feng, that boy I have already investigated clearly. He is just going to Leicester City youth training trial. You find a way to find some public relations to up, and then give me to continue to black him. I want to make others hate dogs. As a result, the original domestic Chu Feng's heat had gone down, and now it had become noisy. The false road to staying in the West, another lie of the fake race genius. Trial youth training is equivalent to landing in the Premier League. Fake news is ruining football. The wind comments on Chu Feng's network began to fall one-sided again. The Football Association finally found the truth, went to a relegation team's youth training camp to try it out, said to land in the Premier League, and the youth training trial was unsuccessful. Yes, upstairs said, well, if I go to the academy to try out, even if I enter the Premier League, then I have seen the Champions League. I can say that I have participated in the Champions League. Chu Feng who? I'm really bored watching his news every day. I've been banned, and I don't stop. How can a person who is in a fake game in the Chinese Super League be able to play in the Premier League, as it is? Now it's really a dog that goes out and comes back and says it's a foreign dog. Before I said that Chu Feng would not have been able to play in the middle division at the beginning if he was so strong. How is it possible to go to the Premier League as soon as you are caught in a fake match? A hotel in Leicester. Chu Feng is also watching the domestic news, seeing the comments of netizens. He does not feel angry. They are some internet fans who do not know the truth. Wait until tomorrow when everything is revealed. I hope that tomorrow Ranieri can invite some media reporters and let the FA lose its face abroad. Inside the Leicester City training base, Ranieri kept introducing Chu Feng's strength to the sports director. Narrating Chu Feng's dribbling, shooting, passing skills. A soccer superstar jumped out of Ranieri's mouth. We should give him a big contract. Give him the top new in the team. Don't we have to break the top new for him? After listening, although the sports director did not believe that a teenager from the Summer Kingdom could have this technique, he did not resolutely refuse to trust Ranieri's character. We still have to look at his performance in the Premier League, and I still can't break the top salary for a newcomer through a trial. Rainieri shook his head and said, Chu Feng, he really deserves it. Or look again, Rainieri, this is not something I promised to solve, you should know. What do the other players in the team think? If he's really as good as you say, a real game is enough to conquer our players and fans. Then everything will be in order. The sports director ended the conversation. He was not willing to give Chu Feng a high salary. Rainieri was a little disappointed, but he still turned and left the office, and he still had to help Chu Feng contact the news media. The scene of the press conference. Chu Feng looked at the long guns and short cannons below. Many journalists were waiting below, and even saw a few Chinese. It seems that Rainieri still has some connections in European football for so many years, and he really wants to help himself. Chu Feng knew that domestic football journalists would definitely submit to the dispatch of the Football Association and would not come from far and wide to report. So he thought of a foreign trick. The largest live broadcast platform in China registered a live broadcast account. The name is called Chu Feng. Open a live broadcast room is called. Chu Feng landed in the Premier League and joined Leicester City. When the time comes, be ready to brush more gifts with yourself, attract a certain number of people to come over, and then these people pass on 10 to 100, enough to set off waves on the internet. After all, in this internet era, the FA's control over domestic public opinion is not so strong. Jiang Wendong, as a CTV5 reporter, came to John's country with the team to talk about the negotiations on the broadcast rights of the Premier League, and originally had finished preparing to return to China. I didn't expect to hear John Wa's counterpart say that you have a player in Xiaogua who wants to sign a Premier League team, and asked Jiang Wendong if he knew. Then Jiang Wendong came to Leicestershire with curiosity. He also did not know that the Domestic Football Association had actually said hello, do not come to Chu Feng's press conference, even if he knew that he would not care. After all, CTV is not managed by the Football Association. Look at your peers around. John Sky Sports, BBC, Team Newspaper, Manchester Evening News, Marca, and other good multimedia have arrived at the scene. These media outlets were invited by Rainieri to attend Leicester City's signing ceremony for the summer talent. As a rare summer countryman in the Premier League, these news outlets are quite interested. Jiang Wendong looked at Chu Feng, who was sitting next to Rainieri in front of him. An old man, a handsome teenager. Jiang Wendong has actually guessed that Chu Feng must have offended the Football Association, and he did not believe that the handsome teenager who could join the Premier League would buy the opposing players in the domestic secondary league and win the fake game. Jiang Wendong fiddled with the machine to prepare for the start of the conference. A domestic live broadcasting platform. A group of people were attracted by a string of fireworks-filled gift special effects to a person called Chu Feng enters the Premier League and joins Leicester City, of the live broadcast room. At the beginning, some passers-by who did not watch football, or people who did not know Chu Feng, ridiculed in the live broadcast room. Wow, who is this little brother, really handsome, what kind of idol group is Leicester City? Later, after some self-media, Weibo shared with the live broadcast room, and more people entered the live broadcast room. Lying grass, this faceless Chu Feng, also held a press conference. Really think he is what kind of star? Point face, can you not lose the face of our summer football? Sign a youth training camp to hold a press conference? How much to buy a quota? The scolding barrage filled the screen, and Chu Feng turned off the barrage. The press conference begins. The sports director and Chu Feng first signed their names on 2 contracts. Then shake hands, face the media, smile, and wait for the media to finish taking pictures. After a flash of light, Rainieri and Chu Feng prepared to meet the interview of media reporters. Episode 7. The scene of the press conference. Reporters began to ask questions. Coach Rainieri, I found that you signed a letter of intent. When will the specific contract be signed? Is it because there is something wrong? We are still finalizing the details of Chu Feng's contract, and we will sign the player's contract as soon as possible. Coach Rainieri, do you think Chu Feng has the ability to play for a Premier League team? I think he shouldn't have any. The reporters were quite curious about Chu Feng. Whether Chu Feng will enter the first leg of Leicester City. Rainieri's evaluation of Chu Feng. Wait a minute. Rainieri said that not only would Chu Feng enter the first leg of the game, and it's the status of the first launcher. Chu Feng's football skills are also quite certain. The reporter was also curious about where Chu Feng had played before. When Chu Feng said to play in the middle division, the reporters were amazed. A Chinese League A player jumped straight to the Premier League to play. At this time, Rainieri said that Chu Feng was banned by the Football Association, and expressed that this is the FA Association's slander of Chu Feng, With Chu Feng's technology, there is no need to fake the game. It is completely possible to crush the team in the middle division. Finally, the press conference ended. The journalist left satisfied with the big news. It is conceivable that the next day it will appear in every newspaper in Europe. Similarly, the news that the talented teenager of Xiaogua was persecuted by the Football Association and fled to the Premier League. After the end of the press conference, Chu Feng did not end the domestic live broadcast room, and then continued to face the audience in the live broadcast room. At this time, the bullet screen in the live broadcast room. Crouching grass really landed in the Premier League? Bull a Chu Feng. The Football Association must be mistaken. Chu Feng has the skills of playing football in the Premier League, how can it be fake? Everyone thinks that the FA should not have investigated clearly. It's just that the work is not serious. Someone framed Chu Feng, the Football Association adopted. They did not expect that the so-called fake game was Yang Feng and a Chinese Super League club owner out of nothing. Take out your phone and play a recording. First of all, an arrogant tone was, Chu Feng, your team fell to the middle B, you can't mess around in the middle B, come directly to my team, don't worry about your long contract, this is Director Yang of the Football Association, the contract matter he will help solve. Another man's voice. Boy, you're very good, you can rest assured that the transfer will be made, and I will make him invalid on your contract. Chu Feng's voice said, don't come to me, I won't go to your team. Don't you know how to lift? I can think that your team is fake, and I can make you not mix. With a closing sound, the recording ended. Chu Feng said to the audience in the live broadcast room. This is the day after my original club's fake play penalty, Yang Feng and a Chinese Super League team owner talked to me. The day after I refused, I was given the reputation of a fake match. The first time I met them, after I refused, my club was reported for a fake match. Yang Feng directly determined that the club was fake on the basis of the baseless reports of several players who were all kicking and filling in the middle division. Chu Feng expressed his anger towards the Football Association, towards the bullet screen. At this time, the barrage in the live broadcast room had exploded. Originally thought it was just the inaction of the Football Association, but I did not expect that it was completely football scum. The FA is really the black sheep of Myanmar. Don't contribute to the national football team, but also Myanmar colluded with the club to force the players to transfer. The key is coming, and the FA is dead. Chu Feng turned off the live broadcast, and after clarifying the truth, he had nothing more to say. Let the Football Association bear the anger of netizens. When Chu Feng thought that things were only spreading on the internet. Domestic CTV5 also reported on the signing ceremony. Summer country genius, signed for a Leicester City club in the Premier League. After Jiang Wendong reported Chu Feng's matter to the leaders of CTV5 were very interested. Approve the interstitial report. CTV sent a message. The national media also rushed to reprint it. The news that Chu Feng joined Leicester City was also widely spread in China. The recordings that were originally exploded on the internet because of Chu Feng's live broadcast have been turned upside down. Plus fans who know through the mainstream media that Chu Feng joined Leicester City. I also knew the recording of Chu Feng's live broadcast. At this time, the national public opinion directly exploded. People understand that Chu Feng only refused to transfer, and the original club was faked. The second refusal to transfer himself was also banned. Everyone does not believe that Chu Feng, who can play in the Premier League, will play in the Chinese First Division. It's also too magical. All the spearheads are directed at the FA. All FA-related websites were blasted. The internet is full of Football Association-related news, and even Chu Feng's popularity has been covered by the Football Association. Someone team issued 4 questions from the FA. A question was asked whether the Football Association and the Chinese Super League clubs had any interests in conveying. The second question is how the Football Association recognizes the club and the players are fake. 3 questions: how many geniuses ended up being suppressed by the Football Association. 4 questions about the current situation of the National Football Association to bear how much responsibility. Everyone is waiting for the FA to answer. FA Center. The procedural ape pointed at Yang Feng's split head and covered his face was a reprimand. That's what you said has been done? Why are there still recordings? Even if you collect money, why do you let people grab the handle? And you said that Chu Feng is a trial training youth training, no technology, and no body, why? Why is he trying out for the first team? Also signed up? Yang Feng looked aggrieved. The message I received is like this. Who knows what ecstasy soup he poured into Ranieri? Blame it on YCTV5 reported it. Hearing this, Program Ape is even more angry. We are the FA, not the radio and television, can we control them? After the Program Ape saw the news, it directly followed CTV5. The leader contacted, and then the other party said that the next time must pay attention to the news review will be good criticism of the reviewer. Then it was gone, and the news of Chu Feng joining Leicester City was still constantly reported. Thinking of this, the Program Ape Chi directly smashed the document in his hand at Yang Feng. The phone rings. Xiaoqing, what's going on with you? Why is there such a big public opinion? On the phone came the reprimand of the leader of the General Administration of Sports. The leader, mainly that Chu Feng is too arrogant and disobedient. The procedural ape is explaining. Well, no matter how it happens, you must suppress public opinion as soon as possible. Otherwise, don't blame me for not protecting you when the time comes. After saying that, I hung up the phone. Yang Feng looked at the procedural ape's eye of choosing people and devouring people, and hurriedly expressed it. General Manager Cheng, you can rest assured that I will suppress public opinion as soon as possible. The Program Ape was dismissive. You press down? How do you press down? Now the network is so developed, so many self-media bloggers, they are like wolves that smell fishy. It is a good thing not to bite you twice, and you first cancel Chu Feng's ban punishment. Yang Feng wondered, just let Chu Feng go? Let him go? He will play with me in John's country, and I will see who dares to sign him. The ape slapped the desktop. Episode 8. It had been a month since Chu Feng's press conference was held. The popularity of Chu Feng joining Leicester City also slowly faded with a penalty letter from the Football Association. Finally, Chu Feng's original club was revoked, and Chu Feng's fake game punishment was imposed. Yang Feng was removed from his directorship for dereliction of duty, and the upstart Chinese Super League club was also punished, and was relegated to the Chinese First Division before the season began. The Football Association transferred the anger of netizens to Yang Feng, and the two netizens were vented, and there was no match in the Premier League for a month, and Chu Feng seemed to disappear on the internet again. With the Premier League openers for Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur, domestic fans are looking to the Premier League again. In the Leicester City press room, reporters also received starting lists from both sides of the game. Leicester City starting list. Strikers Shinji Okazaki and Vardy. Midfielders Mahrez, Chu Feng. Chu Feng? The reporters of John's Kingdom were full of disbelief. Originally, I thought that at the press conference, Ranieri had already expressed great importance to this summer teenager. But I didn't expect that a teenager who had never played in Europe would be on the starting list in the first game of the Premier League. It seems a bit chaotic in their eyes. Playing in the Premier League at the age of 17, did Ranieri think he was the new Cristiano Ronaldo, the new Messi? Originally, the local media in Leicester City had a special liking for Chu Feng, a handsome teenager from the Xia Kingdom, for his mystery. At this time, the fans were full of anger. Why did Chu Feng start? Every game is important for a relegation team. The first leg opponent Sunderland, as a relegation team, is even more important. Such an important game on a rookie, this is unacceptable to them. The news spread to the country. The country is boiling. At the center of the FA, the Program Ape looked at the subordinate with an ugly face. After a period of quiet, how did Chu Feng jump out again? Is there a brain problem with Ranieri? Can Chu Feng start? The subordinates on the side carefully stabilized. Cheng Zong, do you think we should hold this news down? Don't report it? Chu Feng, as a Xiaogua, entered the Premier League starting list. If you don't report it, will you let the Football Association be impacted by netizens once? Report it, but it should be handled coldly, and no extra information should be released. The program should be a little helpless. 10 p.m. summer time. Right now. In front of the TV. Every summer country fan is paying attention to Chu Feng's entry into the starting lineup. Originally because of the environment of summer football, fans who have been disappointed in summer football. They may have flipped through the football information on their phones to know that there is a summer national player who will start in the Premier League. Some are through the storm of the Domestic Football Association when Chu Feng joined Leicester City before, and Chu Feng learned about Chu Feng. They were excited and looked forward to Chu Feng's debut performance. And on the web, all the football forums discussed Chu Feng. Chu Wang is awesome, try to score a goal today. Ranieri really didn't lie, saying that he would reuse Chu Feng and let him start. Thanks to Yang Feng's grandson, otherwise Chu Feng would not have made up his mind to go to the Premier League. The suspicion of the John State media and the joy of the fans of the summer country are waiting for Chu Feng to play. King Power Stadium home team dressing room. Ranieri looked at Chu Feng. Nervous? Chu Feng pressed his excited heart and trembling body. Chu Feng wanted to say yes, but the words became on his lips. Nothing. He is so strong that he is unwilling to show weakness, no matter who he faces. Ranieri smiled slightly. If you don't enjoy the pressure, there's nothing wrong with your technique. If you can adapt to the pressure, you can face any opponent. Ranieri turned and faced all the players. There are no impassioned words, no stirring encouragement, only one sentence. Go ahead and win. After a month of training, the players of Leicester City have learned about Chu Feng's strength. Speed, dribbling, shooting, passing, every skill can amplify these players. In their opinion, Chu Feng should not stay in the lower Premier League teams. Chu Feng should go to the Championship team. Therefore, although Chu Feng was a yellow person, none of the team members dared to despise him. When walking out of the locker room, every team member who passed Chu Feng passed by. They all slapped Chu Feng's shoulder. It expresses respect and trust for the strength of such a young player. Chu Feng also walked out of the locker room with this trust. Left behind, Ranieri and his teaching assistant. I still think Chu Feng should not be let start, not that he is not skilled, but that the pressure is too much. I'm afraid it's going to crush him, it can take it slow. The teaching assistant still revealed concerns. After all, in his opinion, Chu Feng had never played in Europe. As a young player, he needs and can adapt slowly. And at Chu Feng's level, as long as it plays normally, it is enough for Leicester City to be relegated. Ranieri shook his head. No, he doesn't need to. In the face of the Domestic Football Association's upside-down black and white, no ball to play, can resolutely go to the ocean, in the face of my invitation, can calmly make requests. Compared to his technique, he already has a strong heart. After saying that, he walked out of the locker room with the assistant coach. Episode 9. Leicester City hosts at King's Power Stadium against underdog Sunderland. This could be one of the few opportunities Leicester City can fight for 3 points. The biggest attraction of this game should be Chu Feng, who debuted as a starter. Domestic broadcasters know what fans want to see. As soon as the other players in the camera flickered, they stayed on Chu Feng's face. The handsome teenager stood in the middle of the line with his head held high. The long hair in front of his forehead was fixed by the headband, and Chu Feng at this time did not look like a football player, but like a movie star. Good evening, friends from the audience. The one in front of you is Chu Feng, who is about to represent Leicester City to meet Sunderland. I haven't seen our summer players in the Premier League in years. A very recognizable voice rings out on the computer. Come to the country to explain the Premier League. No Jean June, no Premier League football commentator Jean June. Old fans know that Jean June generally rarely explains the matches of such relegation teams. Yet now, as Siag was only seedling in the Premier League, Chu Feng made his Premier League debut. Jean June came to explain a relegation showdown. It can be imagined that in the future, Chu Feng's game will be indispensable to Jean June. Jean June also knows too much what the fans of Siag will want to see. Even if Chu Feng just runs on the pitch, it will give the fans great confidence, and the players of our summer country can also compete in the Premier League. Wow! He was really handsome, like an entertainment star. Seeing Chu Feng, I really believe that the first one has started. Whimper. Domestic fans discussed everything about Chu Feng. Chu Feng followed his teammates towards him. Step into Leicester City's home stadium. King Power Stadium. The moment the home team stepped into the pitch, more than 30,000 home fans shouted. Reverberates on the pitch. Chu Feng stood on the court. Look up at the stands. The blue ocean rolled. Leicester, a city of only 40,000, can fill the stadium that can accommodate more than 3,000 people. Enough to show Leicester people's love of football. Strong home atmosphere. The race hasn't started yet. Chu Feng couldn't resist the excitement of his heart. This is the stage I want. Exhale. Went to his place. Players from both sides have gone to the pitch, and the most important point of our fans in this game is definitely Chu Feng, the Premier League game as a Siagwa player. In the stands of the King Power Stadium, the live narrator is beginning his passionate commentary. Let's look at the starting list of both sides. Leicester City at home is the number 9 Vardy in the front court. The narrator kept saying the player number, name, basic information. In the expectations of the players. Leicester City coach Ranieri and Sunderland head coach Edvacard shook hands. Your starting lineup is really surprising. How come this Jaguarin is your secret weapon? Edvacard quipped. You guessed right, don't be too surprised when the time comes. Ranieri responded. Then let's wait and see. Edvacard answered by holding Ranieri's hand. Peter Walcott returned to his seat and spoke to the teaching assistant next to him. You say that Ranieri saying which one, on an unknown Harry boy, he is not a reckless man. When he saw the starting list, he was no less suspicious than those reporters were. But because it was not clear about Chu Feng's strength. At that time it was an hour away from the game, and it was too late to inquire into the news. But Ed Wallat didn't think a 17-year-old summer boy who had never played in Europe could be. And even if the technique is good, the fierce physical confrontation in the Premier League is enough for him to adapt. Therefore, Edwal Carter decided to respond to all changes with no change, and took advantage of Chu Feng's adaptation process to take a good look at him. Edward Carter comfortably sat back in a chair on the sideline. Eyes on the players. For Leicester City, Sunderland is one of the few opportunities to have the potential to take all 3 points. Sunderland, who is also in the relegation team, sees Leicester City in this way, so this game cannot be lost to them. Chu Feng sat in the midfield. Jerry Man Lenz, a black guy on Sunderland's left, was looking at him with disdain, contempt in his eyes. Lance seems to be a Jaguarin. How strong can he be when he is still so young? Maybe as soon as he got close to Chu Feng's ball was lost. Chu Feng's face was calm, and he glanced at Lance and then looked away. Chu Feng knew that he had come to an unfamiliar environment, and he could not gain the respect of others just by words and eyes. The only thing he can rely on is to rely on strength to conquer these arrogant crooked nuts. Leicester City, who played at home, kicked off. The referee whistle sounded. Vardy kicked off. Vardy flicked the ball to the right and towards Shinji Okazaki's feet. Then accelerate forward. Defoe and Sebastian pressed against Shinji Okazaki. Blocked the angle from which the ball passed to Vardy. Shinji Okazaki could only pass back to Derinkawart. Defoe reacted quickly by extending his leg and cutting it off. Defoe broke the ball and held it. Wait for teammate support. The Sanglander frontcourt player pressed forward and entered the Leicester City half. The Defoe ball passed to Rodwell and ran forward. Rodwell broke through with the ball. Mahrez headed toward Rodwell. Under physical confrontation. Sunderland also lost the ball. Episode 10. Mahrez quickly took control of the football. The Premier League is fast-paced, under intense confrontation. 2 teams conceded the ball in just over a minute. Face the surrounded Thornland players. Mahrez adjusted the football. Stand with your right foot on the supporting foot. Left foot pumping the outside of the ball. The ball leapt high and flew behind Thornland's left player, Renz. Lenz watched the ball yearn for the ball passed from behind him. Thought Mahrez was too big. It's sloppy. Lenz turned and prepared to take possession. How is that possible? How could he possibly be where? Lance was shocked. Chu Feng was still in front of him when the ball flew over. After he turned around, Chu Feng was still in front of him. Chu Feng had already crossed Lance before Lance could start. After Lenz turned around, Chu Feng was already in front of him and ran to the football landing point. Lenz hadn't reacted yet. Chu Feng had already thrown him away. On the left side of Sunderland, 2 defenders, Van Aanholt, who were originally near the football landing point, and Kabul also rushed to the football. Although Chu Feng was terrified of the speed. The late starter came first, before Van Aanholt. Coburg had run to the football landing point. But at this time, the football was still head height, and Chu Feng had been sandwiched between 2 defenders, one left and one right, one in front and one back. As long as Van Aanholt and Coburg judge the fall of the football, they can destroy the ball. Chu Feng slammed the ball on his left shoulder at this time, letting the ball land quickly, but the landing point of the football was a certain distance from Chu Feng. Closer to Kalb. Chu Feng accelerated in the second stage. Arrive at the soccer landing point at the same time as Karb. Watching football be destroyed. Defender Kalb not yet lifting his foot. Chu Feng's right foot tiptoed against the lower part of the football. The ball arced over Quab's head. Continue to the right front of the fall. Chu Feng maintained his speed and rushed to crash the ball down before it landed. Coates, who was defending from behind, slowed down less than the man who collided with Kolb. After getting up, he could only watch Chu Feng rush towards the football that had rolled into the penalty area. Chu Feng adjusted his body and pushed with his left foot. Sunderland goalkeeper Pantilimon fell to the ground. The ball rolls into the goal. The ball was scored. Sunderland's 3 defenders looked at the goal to ease their embarrassment. Goalkeeper Pantilimon also looked at the 3 defenders. Lance was even more stunned. The laryngeal knot moves up and down. Can't say anything. Although the fault of this ball is not all in him. But Chu Feng did break in from his side. He didn't make half an interception. If he could intercept it, even if he couldn't succeed, he might be able to slow down Chu Feng a little. But he didn't expect Chu Feng's speed to be so fast, and under high-speed movement, he could also control the trajectory of the ball 3 times in a row, and did not slow down. Facing the return defense of 3 defenders, Chu Feng, who was surrounded, was able to play Van Aanholt, Kabur and Coates one by one through superb ball handling skills. He even let Kalb, the man that Coates bumped into, flip on his back, and the humiliated watched Chu Feng rush into the forbidden area. Goalkeeper Pantilimon. In the face of Chu Feng had already dribbled the ball into the range of 12 yards. The goalkeeper simply didn't have time to react. Even if he judged Chu Feng's shooting route. The first time he fell to the ground. It's still too late. You can only look back and see the football into the net. Sunderland's players felt too magical at this point. A teenager who came to the summer country broke through their goal so easily. Rumble. Right now. The whole King Power Stadium boiled over. The blue ocean was raging again. The fans shouted, cheered like a tsunami. The course was in an earthquake. Chu Feng rushed to the corner and opened his hands in front of the fans. He seemed to be embracing the whole stadium. Watch the fans, enjoy the cheers of the fans. Chu Feng, Chu Feng. Maples reverberated throughout the stadium. Maple. It was the cheers of more than 30,000 people. Their frantic shouts made Chu Feng's name echo throughout the stadium. At this moment, all the doubts of Leicester City fans about Chu Feng had dissipated. Chu Feng was recognized by fans throughout the King Power Stadium. Beautiful. It's a beautiful goal. Chu Feng, I know you can definitely do it, you're too fast. Did you see that? The 2 of them bumped into each other on their backs and laughed at me. Leicester's teammates rushed towards Chu Feng. Everyone patted Chu Feng's head. Jumped towards Chu Feng's back. Expressing the joy of scoring against him. Casper, the goalkeeper in front of Leicester City gate, also raised his arms to the fans, also expressing joy. The race has only just begun. The whole stadium has been set on fire. Domestic Premier League broadcast room. Chu Feng took the ball, hit his head and kicked past the defender. Oops, there's a chance too. The ball was scored. Chu Feng. 1-0. Leicester City take the lead at home. It's like a shooting star, 10 steps into a goal. Jean Jun's excited voice came from the broadcast room. From a long pass by Mahrez to Chu Feng receiving the ball, playing 3 defenders to score goals, the whole counterattack is less than 10 seconds, we can see Chu Feng's terrifying speed and superb ball control skills. This goal is absolutely world-class. Jean Jun was so excited, the corners of his eyes were a little moist. As a football commentator who has been commentators in the Premier League for many years, he would like to see that players from his own country can also compete in the Premier League. This goal allowed him to already be sure that Chu Feng was enough to gain a foothold in the Premier League.